Hi, my name is Jamie Rue, and it's the 16th day of Camp NaNoWriMo. Okay, so I have written 24,652 words, and I'm so behind. I am I think almost a full 5 days behind on my word goal, so that's a problem. I think I have to write 3,000 words a day to actually finish. I might end up bringing my word goal down again, which is annoying, but I guess I can deal with that. I mean, I'm so much busier than I thought I was gonna be, but that's not exactly what I want to talk to you about today. My novel has a lot of hand gestures. It's a lot of flicking your wrist like this, or it's a lot of twisting your hand. It's a lot of weird movements that people don't generally make ever. How do you explain that kind of stuff? I don't really know. I'm kind of legit explaining it. They turned their wrist inwards, which I guess would mean you're turning your wrist that way. I've also been using a lot of metaphors or similes. They're turning their wrist as if they're adjusting a lens, so you'd be doing this, or they're making the conductor movement where you kind of do that when conductors silence their orchestra, that kind of stuff. There's a lot of that kind of stuff where I have to compare these things to other things in order to make them make any sort of sense, because the way they look in my head is not how it's gonna look in everyone else's head, and that is the realization that helped me. It doesn't actually matter what your reader thinks that hand gesture is, because I'm assuming if they're different hand gestures, you're describing them in different ways, they're just gonna be different hand gestures in the reader's mind. It doesn't actually matter what the hand gestures are, unless it really, really does matter, but it probably doesn't matter. So that's what I realized about my novel, is I'm the only one that cares about what the hand gestures look like. I'm pretty sure that they look completely different in other people's minds. If you look at a whole bunch of fantasy novels, you look at, The Mortal Instruments, you look at Harry Potter, you look at the Percy Jackson series, a whole bunch of stuff that they describe, the way you're picturing it is probably not how the author was picturing it. When Cassandra Clare thought of steels, I don't know how to pronounce things. Basically, there's this weird pen-shaped thing, and I don't know what exactly I imagined that as, but I'm pretty sure I wasn't imagining it the way that Cassandra Clare was imagining it. I'm pretty sure that Harry Potter's wand was not imagined the way that I was imagining Harry Potter's wand. No one imagines things exactly the same, and so if you want your readers to imagine everything exactly how you're imagining them, you're just gonna get yourself frustrated. I think you have to learn to let go and let the reader decide on some things, because really, after you write, it becomes the reader's kind of text to interpret, and if teal in their minds means something else than the teal that you think of when I say the word teal, that's just something you're gonna have to deal with. If turning your wrist inwards doesn't mean that you're doing this with your wrist in someone else's mind, that's okay. If hangers look different in someone's mind, that's fine. Not everything is going to look exactly how you imagine it, so you could try to be one of those people that describes the curtains and the patterns and the way that everything is falling and draping. You can give some hints and let the reader's imagination take over, and that might be better. Some people really, really like the overly descriptive, they need to know exactly what the author wanted. Some people don't. It depends on who's reading, it depends on who's writing, but if you just can't figure out how to describe that curtain rod, it doesn't really matter. No matter what you write, some readers just will interpret it the way that they want to interpret it. There's this one character in this one book that I read, and for the entire book, I thought that this character was black. Turns out he was blonde. I still don't imagine that character as blonde, because I didn't really actually care about any of the looks. It doesn't really, really matter. It might matter to you, but in the grand scheme of things, that's not what matters. The fact that that bed sheet is green just doesn't matter. It's the reader's choice. It's also the writer's choice. If this matters a lot to you, please do whatever you want, but if you're stressing over how to describe things, the reader can imagine it later, and you can always go back and add detail later. Tell me how you're doing with Camp NaNoWriMo. I'm obviously doing poorly. I went back and rewrote some stuff so that I had more to work with. Hopefully within the next few days I'll catch up. If I don't catch up, I am lowering my word goal, because good God. You'll find out in my next video whether or not I decided to lower my word goal. I'm gonna go right now. Bye.